Alright, here is VW Beetle 1974. It's Super Beetle. A lot of bugs have the same or similar speedo, and they have lots of times speedometer doesn't work due to mechanical cable break off, usually around the wheel hub, simple change. Or odometer doesn't work because the little spinning numbers are installed on the shaft, and they're starting to spin on the shaft. The last gear should not be doing that. The last gear is what's driving the whole assembly of the odometer. So all the numbers should spin freely on the shaft except the red color barrel with numbers. If it's spinning, make sure you disassemble, scratch that shaft a little bit, and then reassemble carefully, and make sure all the numbers are visible, not halfway through the window, but the whole numbers. And that one last barrel must be not spinning, must be fixed to the axle. So scratch it off and crazy glue it. What else you can have problems with, which I did? Well, wiring, it's one. You gotta check continuity per wiring diagram. But for the fuel tank metering, usually it's a vibrator or the sending unit, okay? And let me show you sending unit. It's this little guy right here. Okay, you have two wires. One is yellow for the positive, another is brown, or I installed black. I had to change it. It's for the negative. Looks like, you see, it's mounted to the base. So basically what it is, it's a resistor that is variable. So they call it a rheostat, right? When it's full, it should read maybe 10 ohms. When it's empty, probably 75 or so, right? So the more fuel in the tank, if you put your own meter here between this terminal and this terminal, if it's full, it should read 10 ohms, right? So this is basically variable resistor here. That's how you check if it's working. A simple check with your own meter. Now, coming back to the speedometer, you probably want to just pry it from behind. A little bit on one side, a little bit on the other side, and then jiggle it out. Before you pull it any farther, you want to unspin your speedo cable before you break it. It's that black plastic. If it's original, it would be metal, large cable attachment spindle. Then carefully clear your vibrator in the back, and what I like to do is pull it, but gently, so none of the wiring gets detached. And so what we got here, this is the vibrator. What is this? This is basically a voltage intermitting device. In old models, it used to be on for 1/3 of the second and off for 2/3 of the second. So it will be fluctuating like the name suggests, vibrating power, right? That would limit the amount of voltage going to the gauge, because otherwise the gauge will be showing full, even though when it's empty. Okay, so the voltage needs to be regulated there. Sometimes they use a light bulb, sometimes they use resistor. I bought mine on Amazon, and looks like it's I didn't look inside, but the old one had a light bulb in there, and it went bad. How did it go bad? Well, it was reading 0 fuel, and before it went bad, it was kind of jumping a fuel up and down like crazy. So this is your yellow wire coming from your fuel metering level, okay, rheostat, and here is your power going to it, to the gauge, to the vibrator. Leave it without insulating the ground mount of the base, and it would be reading half tank. Okay, it would be reading half tank when the tank is full. You still see if there was a light bulb that would be glooming, because basically power is going through it, through the gauge, coming in through, limiting the power either with resistor or what have you or not, going through the gauge, giving you the reading, basically the ohm reading. This is like an ohm reader device, annual analog gauge, right? And then the power going out to your to check to your fuel metering gauge. Fuel metering float, right, in the tank. So this is your backlit. Okay, when you turn on the lights, you have lights also on your speedo. It's like a gray red wire, and then going down below you have your blue and white for your high beam indicator. And then here you have basically a ground. This is ground, right? So this is these browns. Brown is always ground. And then you have down below, those 3 indicators down below here, you have oil, blinker, and generator charge. So there you go. You have your oil pressure. It's, I'm trying to be gentle here and still show it to you guys. So green and red is your, let's zoom it in here. This, yes, this light, it's your oil, okay, pressure. It should be lit before you start. Then is your blinker, okay, blue and red. Then is your, on the bottom left is your generator light or alternator, depends what you're using. It's a blue cable, blue wire rather. Let's see, yeah, blue and greenish kind of shade. And what else you have here? Oh, the cable that just got unplugged. Okay, this is your ground for those 3 lights, and I'm just plugging it back in. Okay, this little sucker right here. Looks like there is a black and green going there. Okay, and then from the other way around, now basically left side. Okay, left side here is a ground from the brown wire from your fuel metering float. Okay, it's another ground, it's on the same post. And then you have light indicator left side, backlit light of the speedo that comes on when you turn on the lights right here. Okay, and then yeah, these are what? These are gray and red. And then that would complete everything, because these two right here are not used on the left side. Okay, because these are for your EGR cooler, which we don't have, and automatic transmission fluid, which we don't have, right? We don't have automatic transmission here. Is obviously a stick shift. So I think that would cover it all when it comes to speedos in those vehicles. Again, when I grounded it, it would read full the whole time. So as I found out, you do need to ground it, and insulator is not necessary. What you need to do is remove those two little diodes from inside. Okay, pop this cover back off and remove them, break them off, and then solder this Zener diode just like this. Stud with the bar, okay, with the band have to face the stud, and then the other end is just simply soldered to the large metal plate, which is grounded. This is the part number. They sell it on Amazon for that Zener diode. Okay, and that should fix all the problems we're having. Let's put it into test. And here it is. I'm using a large washer, well, as large as it gets in this groove, for the ground stud. Suggested is to get that sucker Zener diode soldered on this side, okay, on the upper side, because it's kind of in the middle, in between the speedo and the vibrator. But it's still rich, and it still works, I hope. I soldered the stud a little better because the Chinese made rivet that holds it is not necessarily good from vibration. It's usually might loosen up there and not work anymore. But regardless, from all the hints, let's see if this sucker even works. Okay. I filled it up, drove 35 miles, should be about 3/4 tank. Hopefully we'll stop at 3/4 with the engine running. If it does, this solution works, guys. It really does. It will fix all your frustration. And it does. It stopped at 3/4 tank, and it's not coming any higher. I'm super freaking happy and relieved finally. So be patient with it, do the same thing, and your Beetle will work. I have a 1974 Super Beetle, but the same rule applies on those. Alright, gentlemen, you have a good day.